So this is the all-new Mazda 3 Skyactiv G, gasoline powered, ready for action here in Ireland. Mazda have just brought this out. If you haven't seen it already, my international review is right there. And we're going to have a look around it right here. So make sure you hit the subscribe button to find out more details about it. Anyway, let's start off and have a look on the inside. So yeah, you got to check out what's happening in the Mazda range, but in here we are looking at some really top quality materials. Very soft touch dashboard. There's a little sponge underneath that as well. It works well. This up here is soft and sprungy rubber, and the same for this top part up here. Steering wheel is made out of similar materials, nice and grippy, although a little bit loud when you're turning corners and you're shuffling your hands or anything. That noise is kind of loud. Anyway, that good material does continue all the way down this side here. This one has Bose stereo system built in. There's good cup holders and things on the door here. You can fit at least a big water bottle in here, and you have another one in there, and another one in there, and another one over that direction, and this huge big bin underneath here. You can also take a water bottle into it, so it's storage is definitely not an issue in the Mazda 3. So manual controls, I have heating controls here which are on physical buttons as well, really good. I've heated seats, this one, a heated steering wheel. There's also a CD player. You don't see them very often anymore. There's actually a CD player across here as well, and a single USB port right beside that's up front. I haven't found any more USB ports. Oh no, I do, I see one right here. There's one here in this little box. I'm going to come to the back seat in a minute, we see if there's any back there. I've also got a big glove box on the side, so storage in this car is exceptional. There's tons of places to put things. The one visual thing that upsets my eyes are these vents here. I'm not sure that they don't balance. There's no balance to that. There's no other vent on this side that looks like the vents on that side. That upsets my eye. But from a cockpit perspective, where you're sitting here, this wraps around you nicely. These two air vents just wrap this direction. Dashboard really well laid out, nice and clear. Rev counter on that side, fuel gauge and temperature gauge there. Another fuel gauge and range gauge and other litres per kilometre information. And then there's an information screen in the centre which gives you speed. Now, lots of stuff going on, but yet very clear. Steering wheel controls are a little bit on the small side, tiny bit fiddly. They could do with being a little bit bigger, but I can live with that. I have active cruise control on this one. Normal stalks are behind that as well. You can go auto on all of your stuff. And then you have the little contentious little contentious screen at the top here, which is just a teensy bit small. It's just like a little widescreen effect up here at the top, which is okay, but it's just a little bit fiddly. I do like that. I'm in Leopardstown race cars. I do like that it's in a sort of a 3D. You got a 3D effect on the whole lot. And also touch that for menu, which adds destination and so on. But this is not a touch screen, so this does not do anything up here when you touch the screen. Which leaves it all the controls on this little wheel at the bottom, which is a tingy bit fiddly. 6-speed gearbox manual in this one, and it's the best on the market without a doubt. It's the snappiest, it's the easiest to change. Then underneath here I have a whole other section of space to put things into. 12-volt socket USB port, tons of room, really comfortable seats, and something that's left out of a lot of cars these days is sunglasses holder up here as well, which is quite nice. Branch just fell off that tree. Anyway, which is quite nice, and the layout in general is very good. It is dark and feels dark in here, but I think I'd get used to that in the driver's position. I think I get used to that because it drives so well. Anyway, right, let's look at the back seat, okay? So back seat, the door doesn't open very wide, and you will hit your head on the way in. 100%, that thing gets me every single time. Good clunk though. From the door, it's good and solid. It feels heavy, it feels rough in here. Now, there's nothing back here. That seat is set for me, and I can just about get my fist between the two. There's no USB ports, there's no vents, there's nothing in the back seat, and it's very dark back here. I can't put it any other way. It just feels dark, it feels heavy. It does have a center armrest here in the middle of it. No ski load through, although the seats is a little bit fiddly. It's a push button up there at the top. But you can fold them flat here as well, and they will drop all the way down for you. So it has those bonus points, but if you're going to spend a bit of time in the back seat here, it's pretty dark, it's pretty heavy, and there's not much in the way of headroom or spiky hair room or anything. It's all a bit small back here. I do find that. Anyway, let's get on. We're trying to get out of the car again without banging my head. And just to prove that I'm not wrong, it's me getting in again. You see there, as soon as I reach this point, my ear is on the outside of the car, so I am actually turning my head sideways to get under that lip. This is too small, Mazda, too small. Anyway, back to the boot. Okay, now that I've rescued myself out of that car, let's look at the boot here. I am actually traveling today, so I have a lot of kit with me. Okay, so this is the boot. As you can see, it's commodious. There's a suitcase in it right there, and you've got nothing else. There's no, I can't find any shopping bag hooks, and I don't see anything around here that would double as a shopping bag hook. So that's the merit points. And notice this is actually folded in half. There's more going back underneath here, and that's about it really. The boot is a boot. It is a space to put things in. Yeah, anyway, on with the rest of it. So this being the first Irish drive of the Mazda 3, I'm going to have to live with it a bit to get the best from it. But so far it is in a typical way Mazda have of being sharp and being cutting edge, and at the same time being a little bit conservative, because it's what Mazda do. It's that kind of way that Mazda go on. They tend to make everything sporty. You know, if you sit in a press conference with Mazda about any Mazda car, they eventually come around to the Mazda MX-5 and they tell you about how sporty the Mazda MX-5 is, even though you're sitting there talking about CX-5 or something. And they did the same here with the Mazda 3. So again, we're back to that same Jin Bai Tai, horse and rider in one, you know, all these kind of phrases that Mazda have. I actually love that stuff. It's really cool. A lot of traffic lights in Sandyford. Dash layout, I love all that with soft material. It's so nice, and I love that they've used mechanical. In the trend of today, we tend to replace all of these dials with electronic dials, but there's actually mechanical dials here as well. There's a rev counter, and there is a fuel gauge and temperature gauge, and they're the mechanical ones. And there's one in the center that is electronic, which gives you lane keeping assistance, your speed, also gives your battery output, liters per 100 kilometers, but it's got a battery log on the bottom of it. Your fuel gauge is on the far side, and your range. There's a lot of information in the one little dash, and it's really clear, really bright and really clear. I really like that. Now, trundling through Stillorgan traffic here, or Sandyford, or whatever part of the country I'm in, I'm reminded that I'm in a 5-door hatchback, which is a market that is not exactly polluted with good cars. Most of the cars that are in that sort of 5-door hatchback zone are getting a bit long in the tooth, whereas this is right up to date. This is as new as you're going to get. Chassis in this is very comfortable. It's just a nice chassis. It absorbs the road bumps nicely. Suspension setup has been now adjusted with Irish and UK in mind, so you'll find that the suspension does feel nice and pliant, but it is firm. Some of the stuff that upsets my eyeballs in here is the 2 vents over there, which are halfway down the dash. That still bothers me. That bothered me on the international trip, and it still bothers me now. It's also very dark interior, feels very snug. I suppose you could take it in both directions, whether you're feeling snug or you're feeling like it's depressing you. I'm not too sure which one you want to feel like. The exterior colour is good. I kind of like it in white. I didn't like many other cars in white, but this one seems to be okay in white. Back seat while driving is pretty dark, I have to say. You know, it's not exactly the brightest place to be in the world. It's acceptable, but it's pretty dim back there. Now, Mazda are getting rid of the diesel offering, and they're not going electric. What they're doing is mild hybrid, essentially, for everything. In a very complicated sort of witchcrafty way, mild hybrid means that the car is assisting you a little bit while you're accelerating, and then it turns into just a petrol engine. And so it cuts down on weight. Mazda's fascinated by weight. Sky Active and all that is all about weight saving. That's really what the car is about. So if they can save a gram here, they will. They'll get a little sandpaper out, and they'll sandpaper off a gram off a nut or a bolt or whatever and save it that way. And that fascination with weight has made the cars very efficient, because weight is the enemy of everything. If you want to go further, you need to be light. If you want to go faster, you need to be light but efficient. If you want to go really, really fast, you need to be light, but you need to have good downforce so you don't actually take flight. But it's all about the weight of the car. Weight is everything when it comes to driving a vehicle. And if you want to be efficient, which this car is supposed to be, particularly fuel efficient, you need to be very conscious of how heavy or indeed light the car actually is. Actually, driving around in one thing that does not necessarily bother me, but it is there, is that little wide screen in the center of the dash that gives me the sat-nav information. Well, it's small and it's far away, not in the Father Ted sense either. It's both small and off over there. Anyway, as I sit here in traffic, it's been a wonderful little spin around that I've had in the Mazda today. I do really like it. It is available in your dealerships now, immediately now. Mazda have done a really, really good job at the feel and the quality of the interior. It feels like a premium product. It seems to drive like a premium product as well. And they're not worried about electricity. So they're all sort of a benefit to you. Hopefully you have learned all you need to know about the Mazda 3. I will be driving it again later in the year as a full test drive. This has just been a brief introduction to it. Hopefully you've learned enough today that you might be able to make a decision as to whether you want one or not. You should be able to hit the subscribe button at this point, which is on the bottom of the screen, a big red button. Click to subscribe. If you've already done that, beside that there is a bell. You can click that as well. That gives you a little notification whenever I upload a video, particularly when I go live on a Sunday. But thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side.
Please hang up.